it's Cherry Blossom. You know the drill. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe to support me. And if you happen to have eyes, you would have seen what an amazing intro Peach made for me. She's also been working on her very own indie animation show, so go check it out in the description. Anyways, you all saw the thumbnail, so let's not waste any more time. The supplies I used is a mask base, hot glue, paints, felt, and mesh, which I all got from Panduro. Then I also used paper and cardboard, which I found laying around my house. And last but not least, I used some fake fur, which I bought from Olsson's. I did also use tape and clay, but it's not really mandatory, and I got both of those from the dollar store, which I don't really recommend. You'll see why later in the video. Now, you're gonna start off by cutting off any unwanted parts like the ears, if you like a better shape like I do. And if you're making a canine, this would be a good time to cut off the muzzle as well. And I'm making my eyes a different shape as well, but you don't need to do this. I'm also gonna apologize now because I kept bumping into my phone the whole time. I mean, it was my hand, then my head, then the hot glue gun, then the paintbrush. My camera could not catch a break. Well, once you're done cutting off any unwanted parts, get a piece of paper and trace out the ear shape. Once you're confident with your ear shape, just cut it out of cardboard and hot glue it onto your mask. Make sure that if you're not confident with a hot glue gun, have an adult help you, because I burnt myself every 2 seconds and I don't want you guys burning yourselves. It was at this point that I decided to take out my spare clay that I got from dollar store, and I tried to make one of the eyes smaller, but I ended up really hating it and taking it away. So in the end, I ended up smoothing out some of the cut parts and I made the ears a bit more 3D, which you can do with cardboard, but I decided to do it with clay. Once it finally dried, this was when I realized not to get clay from the dollar store. I highly discourage it because this clay started crackling and like becoming powdery or something, right? So I ended up needing to tape it all up so there wouldn't be powder flying everywhere. And this is why I recommend using cardboard or any other kind of clay to smooth it out, because taping this all up was a pain in my ass. Well, as I was doing that, I decided to take out my felt finally and cut out a big piece of felt for my mask. Now make sure when you're cutting off your pieces of felt, make sure that the felt covers a bit more than what your mask covers. Rather cut off too much than too less. After you're done cutting out your felt, place it onto your mask and start hot gluing it on. I recommend starting from the nose and pushing the felt out from there because it minimizes wrinkles, at least for me. And for those of you who aren't that confident, including myself, I went with small little smidges of hot glue while placing it on top. If you're more confident, you can cover hot glue over a larger area and do it all at once, but I wouldn't really recommend that if you're a first-time felter. I also recommend getting a high quality felt because many times the higher quality the felt, the less wrinkles there will be. Once you're done gluing, you can start cutting off the excess, but make sure that you have at least a centimeter left of felt on the outside, so rather cut off too less than too much. After that, I started cutting small little snips to kind of separate the felt into small little sections. And make sure when you're doing this not to cut down all the way to the mask, because otherwise you can see little snips in the end result. Once you're done, again, doing all of that, you can start gluing them onto the back of the mask. Make sure to pull them a bit when you're doing this because it'll minimize wrinkles. Then just repeat the same steps for the eyes. If you want to, you can slow the video down to see exactly how I did it, but I think you can kind of see what I did even if it's a bit sped up. Right here is where I'll show you my design, and after that I started just tracing the design onto the mask with a normal pencil to be kind of like a guideline of where I should paint. Now your paint, I would recommend kind of mixing it with water so that it sticks to the mask better, but you don't need to do it if you don't want to. I decided to also go in with a white coat because you could see splotches of like blue and yellow here and there, but you don't need to do this if your felt is thick enough to like not show the mask itself. Now at this point I kind of forgot to record, but I did make a nose and tongue from felt, which I did paint with the same kind of mixture of water and paint. After all my other paint dried, I made a kind of mixture for the scar, but it kind of turned out a bit too light, so I did have a darker mixture right next to it that I kind of mixed and splashed to make it a little more gory. I do not really recommend painting over your already existing paint job, because this meant that I had to go over it with a few layers, because otherwise the paint underneath it would be showing. It was right now that I decided to redo the paint job here because I thought that it didn't really match with the scar if it would be the same exact color. While you're waiting for your mask to dry, you can start painting the eyes. I like to use 2 pieces of mesh and tape them together while painting them to make sure that no one can see through. Once everything is finally dry, you can finally hot glue all your extra pieces on top. Make sure that when you're hot gluing on your eye mesh, to only hot glue around the eyes so that you can cut away all the extra parts later. For the last part, and in my opinion the most tiring part, you can finally start adding some fur. Now, my phone did die in the middle of this process, but as you can see here, just take out some paper and trace how you want the fur to go. Make sure that when you're cutting out the fur, that the fur actually goes in the direction that you want it to go. It's very important. Like I told you guys before, my phone did die right about here, so I just cut out the fur and I cut out some accessories, aka the leaves, and I didn't glue them on yet, just to make sure that I liked how they looked like. Make sure that you're 100% happy with how it's gonna look like. As you can see here, I did accidentally glue my fur a little bit too much inwards on the mask, so I just took another piece of fur and glued it on top of that fur. Now, if you're gonna sell your mask or you just want it to look a little more professional or cleaner, you can add lining, which is literally the exact same process as adding felt, except you just add a piece of fabric to the back of the mask. Contrary to how you would felt a mask, instead of cutting a centimeter less, I would cut a centimeter more so that you can't see any fabric on the front of the mask. And of course, don't forget to cut out your eyes. Don't use a dull scissors like I did. I had to end up going down with my X-Acto knife to punch a hole. So yeah, I recommend using something a bit sharper, but if you're like under 13 or just don't have a lot of experience, make sure you have an adult near you. The very last step, but certainly not least, is finally reattaching your elastic band. I decided to attach 2 elastic bands just to make sure that it wouldn't fall off the head of anyone who buys this mask. And then you're done. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to take any videos with the mask since it did get sold pretty quickly, but here are some pictures I took.